So, from manufacturer to ultimate consumer, the main link in our economic system are the salesmen. Salesmen. Salesmen.
Hey everybody, I'm Clint. Welcome to the first episode of the Salesman's Guide to Beer and Business. Today, I have not only one of my best friends, but I also have my boss and somebody who holds a record. He is the youngest general manager of a camping dealership here in Missouri. Grant King, everybody. This is Grant King. Grant King, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hopefully everybody's doing well out there tonight. But again, like he said, I am Grant King, general manager of one of the dealerships here in Missouri. We're a very large company that we represent. But today I just want to have some fun and tell you guys a little bit about myself, and hopefully you guys can learn a few things today.
Heck yeah, man. That's what we're all here to do, to learn. And of course, we've got some beer. Who doesn't love some good beer?
There you go.
I did want to give a shout out to Second Shift Brewing. Today we're drinking their technical ecstasy. And I've got a little bit about them. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri. They started in New Haven, Missouri in 2009. Steve Critter, he got a brewing kit for Christmas and amazed his family and friends with brewing experiments in his garage. They were all apparently very surprised at how well he had done that. And just from the little bit of research I did, that's kind of how he got the name Second Shift Brewing, was because he would get off work, go home, and work on it in his garage, kind of like a second job. So that's speculation. I don't know that for sure, but it makes sense to me.
That's pretty cool. It's funny how people start out with such a small thing and turn it into something so big. So.
Well, I mean, he had a dream. He had motivation, what we're here to talk about. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. And when I was in the store actually picking this up, the main thing that caught my eye was the can itself. It's just an aluminum can. There's no fancy paint on it. But the artwork on it, the artwork's really cool. And at the top, it says the Washington Tattoo Collective by Kyle Scarborough. I thought that was really neat. I'm big into tattoos myself. So seeing that, I was like, okay, we're going to try that. It's a pretty good beer. It's got a nice hearty flavor to it. Good amount of head when you pour it into a glass. Dang, that was loud. Having technical difficulties over here. But no, so Grant, I've got a couple just random questions I'm planning on asking everybody. Like I said, this is our first episode ever, so y'all bear with me. I'm no pro at podcasting just yet, but how did you get your start? What got you into sales?
Well, I'll step it back a little bit farther than that, Clint. So, as you know, we worked together in the gas and oil fields. So that was a good time. But really getting started was wanting to be home with my family. You know, I had a son. It was time to be home. So I was like, what can I get into and what do I know? So, growing up, I grew up around the insurance business. Mm-hmm. You know, my stepfather had an agency, and then he moved on to Columbia, Missouri, where we're at today. And he's vice president of a senior marketing specialist here in town. And that was kind of my mentor. And I looked up to that and what he had done and where he started at in his life. And I said, if I want to be in control of how much money I make and how well I can provide for my family, sales is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I stepped into the car business there in actually Arkansas, Heber Springs, Arkansas, of course, where we met, and got into sales. And I fell in love with it. I was always a car guy. I always loved cars growing up. My grandpa always was building hot rods and different things. So we had a lot of fun with that, but sales and cars. So I put it together and said, let's do something with it,
All right.
Yeah. So that's really where I got started at, and just looking at the potential of what I could turn something into.
I got you. Well, and that's similar to my story. I mean, obviously we've known each other a long time, so it's easy for us to sit here and, say, yeah, well, I know what you're talking about. But I mean, we really have. We used to work together in the oil and gas business, and 2015 is when I got out, and the oil and gas business was really just taking a dive. Price of oil was going down, and the ability to hold down a job, let alone be at home every night, was impossible almost. So, right. I mean, I think that's where I was as well. That's what got me into sales, because I was completely and totally like, okay, I'm done. After this job, I'm out, going home. I'll find something else to do. When did you realize you loved being in sales?
So really, starting out in that whole new environment, if you're looking at the things I've done in the past, a lot of different construction stuff from concrete to roofing to different things, then the gas and oils we talked about. I had to find myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I knew that I liked to take care of people. I knew that I liked being around sales and the effects I saw that other people gained from it, successes, I should say. So when I got into it, it was a scary thing, but I dove head first, and I had some good managers, right there at Red River that taught me a lot, something to build off of. So really, right from the start, Clint, when I got in there and you make that first sale, you're hooked.
Oh, yeah.
The customer's happy. They're smiling. You're super pumped. You don't even know what to do with yourself, right? So to see that you took care of a customer, to see that they're happy, it hooks you right then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was always a big thing for myself, not just, I closed that guy. It was, right. We just did that,
Yeah.
We just had that exchange. We just had the negotiation process after product building on the lot. We worked the whole process, and now we're at the conclusion. We're at the final moments, and they said yes. Boom. That just feels so good.
It's that transfer of emotion that they talk about.
Exactly.
That's what sales is. This is a transfer of emotion. So you want that good emotion, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. That transfer of emotion, that is such a rush and such a high in itself. I mean, being able to do that and be profitable at it, to make money at it, it's insane.
It never gets. You talk about closing, but you sell anything, any type of sales that's out there. Every time you sell something, it's like the first time for me. It's just an adrenaline rush. It's like, some people are into things they shouldn't be into, and that's their rush. It's the adrenaline. It's the being pumped up after you get that deal closed up.
Mm-hmm. No, I still get that rush every once in a while. It's not an everyday thing, but I mean, that's where we differ because,
Right.
But, so where do you want to go from here? Like, obviously you're killing it in the RV business. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're general manager. What is your next step? Is it going to be something within the company, or is it going to be something on your own? What are you going to do?
Well, it's kind of a two-part question there. So I kind of have a little bit of mixed goals there, some would say, but I know exactly what I want to do. And that is, I would love to move up into the company. I would love to take that next step, that regional vice president role, and on up. But what I also would like to do on the other side of that is run a few businesses. I've got some ideas and some businesses that I would love to run. But to be able to balance that out, that's what I got to be able to find. Mm-hmm. Where's the balance of that? Real estate's a big thing for me. My wife has a real estate license. I can play off of that. So flipping a few homes, getting some money in the bank on that side of things to not take away from anything, but just to add to, so I can get these businesses on the right going while I still run this RV business that I'm so passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say getting into real estate, what are going to be your first steps into getting into that? I mean, obviously you're talking real estate, you're talking about either financing or having some hardcore cash to be able to throw at a house or a building or whatever. What is going to be your first step to get to that real estate goal?
So, the first step to that and to be profitable, I believe right off the start, is going to be having to get some house flips going on. Mm-hmm. So, my goal for this year is to flip 2 houses. Okay. That's the start off goal. If I can flip 2 houses, national average of what they profit on should get me started into the next step. What I want to own is apartment complexes, multi-living, and that kind of thing. That's what I truly want to get into.
Okay. That's awesome. I've always wanted to not necessarily flip, but to own apartment buildings, own rental properties, because that's something that everybody's going to need. Somebody's always going to need somewhere to live. Right. Now, obviously, I'm not just going to let any Joe blow off the street be like, yeah, just come on in and rent this place, $450
it's all
a month.
Yours.
But I mean that alone, just because my dad's got a couple rental houses, he hates it. He's like, being a landlord's awful, and I'm like, I don't blame you. I can see the terror in that because I was always a terrible renter for him. So I mean, I get it, but I just see so much, income coming from that, Once your house is paid for, it's free and clear minus repairs. I mean, obviously you got taxes and insurance and stuff like that, but I mean, that can't compare to, I mean, I'm paying $1,000 a month right now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you add that up per one house, it doesn't it's
Right.
hand over fist.
And, and that's why you look at the single, like you're talking about, single family homes and that kind of thing. And what I really want to get into is why I want to flip is I really don't want to jump into that single family. I would rather jump straight into that multi-living. That's where the profit's going to be coming from. You know what I mean? So, and it's not about being able to say that I'm worth $1 million or I'm worth this many millions of dollars or whatever in the future. It's the freedom that it comes with. We can say that we're our love for money. It's really our love for freedom to be able to do what we want to do. Absolutely.
And I mean, that's, a lot about what Grant Cardone, one of our both personal heroes, says a lot, is you want the freedom, not necessarily the money, because the money buys you the freedom to do what you want to do.
Exactly.
And that's what I love. I mean, Grant, if you're ever watch this, please come on my podcast.
That's right.
but
I better be here too, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll let you hold the camera. Or
there
something.
You go.
So, what do you think about the beer? Give me your honest opinion.
I like it. Very flavorful. It's full. I like it a lot. Probably a couple of them will get you filled up, but
yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's got a nice full flavor to it. I know it looks like a light beer, but it's got a lot of kick in there for taste.
It's a good pilsner. Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it.
No, by any means.
So on the daily basis, what do you do to stay on your grind? What keeps you motivated and what keeps you going?
So really my family. So really what it is I've got a wife and 2 kids to support. And I've always said, and I have a sales meeting every morning, as you know, and I tell those guys the same thing. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, find something you are passionate about. Yep. But really what it is just the family. It's wanting to be able to give them what they need, never need for anything. Now, do I want them to want for some things? Yeah, I don't want to tell my kids yes for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a life lesson. I've seen too many young kids growing up be treated like that. And you say spoiled. But, excuse me. But what drives me every day is just the kids and keeping going. And my wife, she's been by my side all the way. We'll get into a little bit of my past, I'm sure, a little bit later as we go here. But from where I started, she was there, and we've moved tenfold compared to where I was at.
Okay, well, I want to get into this. So let's just go ahead and break it out. Let's get this out of the way, because this is the part of the story I wanted to hear and get on recording, because I know it. And so this is what I call the bottom of the bottle. What made you hit rock bottom to start your grind, to start where you said, I've had enough, I've got to do something, I've got to do something better right now?
So it's a little bit of some young mistakes, and I'll say that is, I was married once before, so my ex-wife, and we weren't divorced or anything at the time, and I had moved up to Columbia, where we're at now, and I got drawn back in to that Arkansas area. Oh, yeah. So when I did, that was my first mistake, I'll say, but guess what? I've learned that if you're not failing every day, we're not trying hard enough.
That's right.
So that was my first mistake, is moving back. But to move back, I always tell you there's a couple numbers that I'll never forget. Yep. And that's a 2 and an 87. 2 and 87. 2 and 87. Okay. Yeah. So it's 2 boxes. That's what I had to bring back with me. It was 2 boxes of clothes. And 87 is the dollar amount that was in my pocket to get back.
Oh, wow.
A good friend of mine, actually his name, Jeff Mix. I'll throw him out there a little bit, but he came, he picked me up, and he took me back to Arkansas. So on $87, well, guess what? I paid for fuel. So when I got back, I probably had $20 left or so, something like that. Knew that, okay, I got to do something. Man, a lot of friends in that area. It was couch to couch and that kind of thing. And it was me not being passionate about anything, not having the drive that I have now, nowhere near it, but trying to find myself, I guess, at a later age than I wanted to. But that led to finding you and meeting you, actually. Yep. But it was, I kind of jumping ahead there, I guess, because there were several days it was, do I eat or do I not eat? Do I scrape a few quarters together and grab a cheeseburger and that kind of thing? And, I've never really shared this kind of story publicly, just to you and a few other friends and that kind of thing. But to say it, I hope people learn from it. I hope people can listen to it and say, hey, that's where I'm at. I'm in that hard spot. But once you hit rock bottom, it's a foundation to build on. Yeah. That's how we got to look at it. I'm at rock bottom. It's feel sorry for yourself, or do I do something about it?
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why, I call it bottom of the bottle, because obviously we're talking about beer here, but it's being at your lowest point to realizing you have to make a change, to realize that you've got to do something and it's not going to be handed to you. You have to work for it and you have to do it. And I know that from you, from personal experience, that's exactly what you did. And that's why I love your story. So please continue.
Yeah. So, when I met Clint, he was a manager of a company in the gas field. So he had no idea who I was. I met him through my now wife, Cheyenne. And like I said, no idea who I was. I was a long, shaggy-haired kid is what I looked like when I met him. And, I asked him for the shot at it. He gave me a shot, and I worked my butt off to be where I was at for him. But that's really where that start came from. And that drive was back. I found that passion again. And what I want to do is it's time to get serious. It's time to make something of myself. So it started right then.
So, obviously I know, we worked in the oil field together and our paths crossed and, departed from there. You stayed in the oil field for a little bit longer. When did you actually get a start in cars?
Let's see. I guess it would have been 2000, I want to say 15 is probably when it was, somewhere right in there. It was probably about the same time you were coming out of the gas field, just a little before that, probably early 2015 is when I actually got into the car business. Because, I got home, but I was still on the road with Stewart Petroleum and that kind of thing. So so when I got into the car business and was home every night, that was night and day too. That's a lifestyle change. But I'll never look back and regret any of my past because it was all stuff to learn off of. It was, like I said, a foundation that was time to build off of. And so I'll never stop striving to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I 100% agree with that and believe that, any mistake you made in the past or any great thing you did in the past is just that next building block in your life that you're getting one step closer to, becoming yourself, getting to the point you want to be at. I mean, it's that climb to success. Right. It's that one thing you're reaching for, no matter if you take 3 steps back or if you fall down, you're still making progress in yourself.
Right. And it definitely wasn't over. I mean, I definitely kept falling. Yeah. I fell down several times after that. So, when we decided to move, we found out that we had a daughter on the way. We already had my son, and it was like, okay, we got to do something because, even the car business, I was struggling there. I don't know what it was, but something got in my head. I kind of was struggling, hard times, and that kind of thing. And we had to make a move. I had to figure out what I was going to do. Was it stick with it or move and maybe pursue a different, something different or into another dealership? So, my parents were actually from this area or live in this area, not from this area, but live in this area. And so we decided, let's get close to them, have help with the kids a little bit, that kind of thing. I can jump back into a car business. So I was actually, I'll say this, and probably not many know this either, but I was delivering a vehicle and to my stepfather. And when I was delivering this vehicle, I decided to stop by a Chrysler dealership.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, the thought's there. Let's just stop by. Well, they hired me on the spot. I interviewed with 3 managers. They hired me on the spot. So it was like, okay, here we are. This is what we're doing. Let's move. So I was there for about a year. And it was a rough business. The auto business is still, I would say, I don't want to say going downhill too fast, but what it's doing is changing. So everybody's adapting in different ways. There's a lot more wholesalers out there. There's a lot of, it's all volume and that kind of thing. And I love sales. I love dealing with people, like I said earlier, but I was like, this just, I don't think this is it. I have more potential. It's
There's
not
got to be something else there.
There's something. So one of my managers, his name's Scott Brender, and I'll shout him out too while I'm on here because he owns Cars LLC, and he does basically he's getting you car prices at dealer cost. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just purchased from him, but something that he taught me was, number one, I knew how to work hard, but he taught me how to work that much harder. He taught me being passionate. Sometimes you can be too passionate, but guess what? Apologize and keep being passionate.
That's right. That's right. I like it.
So anyway, he got the opportunity to go into the RV business. So his first call was begging me to come over, but I was still fearful. I was scared. I was running scared because guess what? I still have a daughter on the way.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm fixing to have to, go from 3 to 4 to provide for. So what I did is I basically said, you know what, let's do it. It was February of 2017. Okay. So February of 2017, I decide I'm going to the RV business. My daughter's due date was March 8th. So I'm like, here it is. It's all or nothing. So I knew I had to put it all in.
Yeah.
So I went into the RV business not knowing a dang thing about an RV. Nothing at all. So maybe I'd been on one camping trip where an RV was involved, but mostly tent camping and that kind of thing. So anyway, I went over there and I jumped on the sales floor. February of 2017. November of 17, I earned myself a spot as a finance manager.
Nice.
So I was there for just a short time, about 3.5 months, before a spot opened up as a sales manager, and I was moved into that position. So, it's kind of going fast from here, and then shortly after, I would say, I guess September of 2018, I was given the opportunity to be a general manager of the store. Of course, knowing me, I just jump in and go, both feet. Let's do it. I learned fast. I learned from a lot of valuable people inside the dealership. So that general manager position opened up as Scott started his own business, as I talked about earlier. But so I jumped both feet, and it's I don't regret anything from here on out. It's just taught me a ton, and it showed me that I've always been passionate about helping people, and that's shown me I can train and turn somebody's life around.
Yeah, and I mean, even with me, because when you called me and said, "Hey, I need your help up here. Can you come up here and fill this role for me because I need somebody." I was.
Hey, there goes a sign.
Hey, you broke it. You bought it. Sold.
I needed more room there. There you go. Now I'm good.
It wasn't in the wall very well, I promise. But no, like when you called me up here, I was so scared and so nervous to take that jump. Me and my wife, we moved 8 hours away to come up here because you told me you could make it work. You said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take care of you. And that's one of the things I was impressed with, because when you called me and we talked on the phone, I didn't know you were a general manager. I just thought you were a sales manager at the time. And I was like, oh, cool. He's doing great for himself. Did not realize you ran the whole store.
I hear you.
And that's when you started telling me all the background. You're like, man, I'm the youngest GM in our company. Right. I was like, wow, okay, big deal. He's a big deal. Gotcha. He is not the shaggy-haired kid I met a long time ago.
Not quite.
Gotcha. But
now there's not much left. But
no. Well, hey, that's part of sales 101. You will lose your hair.
You will,
okay?
but it's worth it. I promise.
It's way worth it. But yeah, I mean, so my next question: how is moving out of the oil field into a job where you can come home every night affected your relationship with your family as well as your wife? I mean, I know being a GM and I see it, and I know it from being in sales for a number of years now. It does take a toll on you in a different way. You at least get to go home every night, but like in your own personal realm, how does being general manager affect your relationship and your family life?
It's not an easy thing to adapt to. Going into the RV business, I know I had to make it work. So I knew it was going to take a lot of hours to do so. Take a lot of sacrifice of being away from home, being home every night, but being away from home to make it all work. Mm-hmm. So, having somebody that was supportive of that had my back on that, and it's not easy. It's rough. There's rough times. We've been through ups and downs over how much I'm gone, but it's gotten better. Mm-hmm. As I've built a team that I can trust and that, operates the same way when I'm not there. Excuse me. So really that changeover, it's kind of tough to adapt to because you're going to be home for a week or two in the oil field and you're going to be gone for a week or two. Mm-hmm. But day to day, you never know if you're going to be home at 7:00 at night or it's going to be 10:00 at night. So
yeah. We've had plenty of late nights that I've gone, honey, just put it in the microwave.
That's right. That's right. So, but she's had my back through and through. She sees what I see. She sees my goals. So Cheyenne's been just an absolute day and night change for me being in my life because of what I used to be. Mm-hmm. So she was there. She was the best friend that was there and all this when I had nothing, when I had those 2 boxes and $1 or $2 anyway in my pocket, but she was there. So I knew as our relationship built and I realized that, hey, I'm in love with this girl, mm-hmm. that she was here from the start. It's not because I'm making money now. It's not because I've seen some success. She saw me at my worst. She's been through my worst and Now, I'm not at my best, but we're working that way. I'm getting better every day. So I'll never quit striving to get better. And as long as she stays by my side and we're on the same mind frame, we just keep moving forward together.
That's right. And I mean, that's one of the things you've got to have in a relationship, especially in sales. You've got to have somebody who's going to have your back.
All right.
Because there are going to be times when you don't get off till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night because you're sitting there trying to close that deal.
Right.
Or trying to pin it up or end of the year stuff, end of the month stuff. You've got to have that time, just pre-scheduled in your head. I'm not going home tonight. I'm not going home tonight. I'm just going to sleep here on my desk because I've got too much to do.
That's right.
And I mean, I totally get that. But so on a normal day, what does a normal day look like for you?
So, on a normal day, just kind of, you're talking about coming in and where my day starts?
Yeah, I mean, I know in the mornings we have a sales meeting. Mm-hmm. We're rallying the troops. We're getting everybody pumped up. I mean, from there, your morning meeting to when you clock out at night.
I wish I could tell you exactly how it went, but it's different every day. So it's basically you come in, we rally those troops, we get that sales meeting going, and we're off to the phones. We're grinding the phones. We're getting everybody working on the phones because in our business, taking care of customers is following up with customers. Mm-hmm. So we're grinding the phones. We're working deals, all kinds of different things being thrown at you. You got to be adaptive to whatever gets thrown at you, and that's what I've learned is how to be that. And to also have, hopefully you guys one day will meet Ozan, Nas Dag. So he's my sales manager. If I didn't have him by my side, I don't know what I'd do because he helps filter that. He keeps me in line a little bit when things get tough, right? So it's stressful, but day to day, you never know what you're walking into. It's always something different. You try to plan your day, but it's going to get thrown off somehow, some way. But overall, it's a pretty smooth day in the business because you have a lot of people that love what they do, and that's camping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I get that. We always grew up tent camping. We never had a camper, but I've learned that there are so many people out there that love being in a camper to be able to just take weeks on end and go somewhere, go out, and that's always amazing to me that people have that freedom because we don't have that freedom yet. We promote, hey, go be free.
That's right.
I've actually told customers that before. I've been like, go be free because I'm stuck here doing this, okay? But no,
I hear you. Yeah.
I love my job. Don't fire me.
No, yeah, that's true though. We sacrifice a lot to make sure that other people can enjoy their time, and a lot of people don't realize that. But that's how I view it because it's not me being it's not me trying to be rude at all. I want those people to be able to enjoy their time. I'll sacrifice my time every time for the successes I want and to be able to make others happy.
Mm-hmm. So, what were one of your biggest fears when getting into sales?
If I could even sell anything.
If you could ever sell it.
So, I was always personable. I always made friends easy, and I grew up around the business. Not the car business necessarily, but around cars and around sales. So, my biggest fear was if this was going to work or what I was going to do. If it doesn't work, what's my next step? Well, guess what? You got to make it work.
You got to make it work. That's
yeah.
Right.
So it's the mentality. It's the mind frame.
So how did you make it work? Because I know I had the same problem. I walked in not knowing anything. I've never just been a supercar guy. Like I knew cars. I knew how motor works. I can change my oil. Don't think I'm weird, but I mean, like seriously, how did you make it work? I know how I did it, and it probably isn't the same way you did it.
Probably not. So making it work, I got to put myself back in that spot in that time frame, but I knew the only way to make it work is to keep what was important on top of my mind. Yep. So that was family. So I knew that I had to put that right there at the top, keep it in the back of my mind every day that I walked in and said, okay, no matter how stressful it gets, no matter if I go a day or 2 or 3 or 4 without selling something, it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Because if you lose your mind and lose your head there, guess what? It's not going to be okay.
No.
So you tell yourself it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And you go days without selling something. And you're like, oh my gosh, this ain't going to work. I'm not going to be able to do this. But I kept going home at night saying, hey, I got to provide for this family that's sitting here at home relying on me. I was the only one working. So I knew that I had to make it work. And the only way to make it work is keep them on right there at the top of my mind.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the important part. That's what you're supposed to do. So who was the first person to actually get you into a sales position? Did you just go up to the car dealership and say, hey, I'm going to be your new sales guy? Or like, did you have somebody help you out and get you in the door?
So Kalen Reed, which was actually ended up being Clint's old general manager of the dealership he was at, but Kalen Reed was a friend of ours, actually worked with us a little bit in the gas and oil, and then I just knew him from being around Heber Springs too and being in that dealership. But he told me, you know, it's funny. This is funny. I'll step back a minute. He told me when I asked about the car business and want to get into it, he said, don't. And I said, what do you mean don't? He said, go sell RVs.
Yep.
so to think about that now, I'm like, dang, he was right years ago. Why did I do this years ago? But I said, no, you know, I know cars. You know, I want to get in the car business. I want to work for Red River Dodge and that kind of thing. So I went up there and actually sit down with the owner, Mitch Ward, and I sit down with him and told him, hey, here's who I am. This is what I want to do for you. No, I've never been in sales, but I promise you I got the passion and drive to do it. Give me a shot at it kind of thing. And we discussed a few things and a couple more visits up there, and they said, when can you start? So
I got you. See, and mine was so much more easier because Kalen, when I needed a job, I was actually got my start at the Ford dealership there in Heber Springs. I think it's Heartland Ford now. It's not what it used to be.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't want to put them out there because I didn't like there. But one of my best friends, and he's still hustling today. I'm going to try my hardest to get him on here. His name is Trey Alton.
Yeah.
He called me. I was out in the turkey woods. I was on unemployment. Like just living the dream, you know, like didn't have a care in the world, didn't have $1 in my pocket, but I'm in the woods hunting. Okay. And he called me and he was like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm in the woods trying to kill a turkey. And he was like, okay, driving to town and meet me at my work. And I was
there
like,
you go.
okay. And he was just like, put on nice clothes. I was like, wow, what's up? And he was like, well,
what's going on?
I got you an interview. And I'm like, I didn't know I needed an interview, you know? And he was like, no, you need an interview. He was giving me a physical intervention, like, hey, get your ass off of unemployment and get your butt back to work. Like, I'm going to put you to work in car sales. And I was like, dude, I've never sold anything in my life.
Yeah.
And he did. He had me interview. I talked to the guy, the sales manager at the time. I worked there for, I think, a month or two, and I was never put on like a lead system.
Gotcha.
And I went to him and I was like, hey, can I get put on leads? Like all I'm doing is calling like service customers and old customers and, taking lot ups. And he was just like, well, since you asked, I'm going to have to let you go. And I was like, wait, what? Like I'm asking for more to do.
No way. I didn't know that story. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more on this.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly what happened. As soon as I asked for leads and to get on the CRM, he was like, so I'm going to have to let you go.
So I want to work harder for you. Sorry, man. You're not going to work harder by.
Yeah.
That's really, I mean, come on.
So, and
I'm going to get that man some leads.
Right. I mean, I was all about it. I was calling cold call leads. He had given
Here's
me
a phone
script.
book.
Yeah. He'd given me a script and service records. And he said, call service customers, tell them that you're doing a customer experience. Just want to see how they treated you, get information on the trade, and then tell them you're going to trade them out of it. And I would do that. And I got, I think, 1 or 2 sales off of it. I was green as could be. I was terrible at it. I was terrible on the phones. But it got me to pick up the phone, start dialing, pick up the phone, start dialing, you know? And I was like, hey, I need more to do. We don't have any lot traffic.
Right. Give me something.
Give me something to work. And he let me go because of it. I was like, are you serious?
Wow. So, I don't know who that manager is, but my God.
I'll tell you later.
We won't call him out right now, but wow.
He doesn't deserve. We will.
Yeah.
His name we do not speak.
Right.
But I called Kaylin and I said, hey, I just lost my job. Can I come work at Red River with you? And he said, I mean, I can try. And I was like, what do you mean you can try? He was like, well, do you want to work with me or do you want to go to the store in Heber? I said, what do you mean? He was like, well, I'm the GM of Malvern store now. I was like, I don't care. Like,
wherever I need a job.
Job needed.
Right.
And he was just like, well, drive down tomorrow and interview and pretty much do your paperwork and start. So, I mean, he really hired me on the spot. Like, I worked a full day that day. He got me in the system. But, I mean, he was doing me a favor because I did him one a long time ago when I hired him in the oil field. But that seems to be how I've made so many friends and connections was I used to be your boss. Now you're my boss. That's happened more than once.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I wouldn't trade it for the world because I was that boss and I've been there and I'm like, don't get me wrong, the power was cool, but I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, right.
I was 25 leading a company. I don't want to do that again.
I hear you. Yeah. But it's fun. You know, you don't regret any of it because
absolutely
builds you to where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, it gave me the leadership skills I needed to be able to do the jobs I do now.
Right.
You know, and it gave me such a drive to know how to do things, you know, to talk with people when I didn't realize I was giving myself sales training in the past, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into sales and made it comfortable for me was, you know, I would talk to a customer at first and just be super nervous, but I would just smile and I was breaking down my own walls as I was breaking down theirs.
Right.
Because I'm just I'm a very excitable person. Like we start talking about something like deer hunting. Oh, I love deer hunting. You do too? Me too. What do you know, man?
Exactly.
Check out these cameras on my phone, man. Man, look at that buck. That's a huge buck. And it would just break down their walls, and then I'd be like, okay, so the payment is much higher than what I quoted you. Sign here. and they'd sign on it. I don't know why, but that was one of the things that I loved was being able to get away with small stuff like that because
they know it. It's not like you're trying to hide nothing. It just works.
It just worked. You know, when you have that reputation with your customer, to be able to do that, you know, it's so much easier to ask for that close and to have them sign off on it, even though that's not what you told them or it's not what they want.
Right. You know, and you know what you're talking about, I believe, is you close somebody and then they get in the box. You want to make sure they're protected, they're taken care of with the extended warranty, which scares everybody so bad. But let me tell you something, I got them on my vehicles. So I can comfortably pitch them because I know they're real.
Yeah.
Just like Gap and anything else after totaling a BMW the other day.
Yeah. Yeah. and I don't know why like finance managers have such a bad name because we are legally required to offer you this protection. It is a legal requirement. You know your options.
Right.
Don't get mad at me because I'm doing my job. You don't.
I have to share this with you.
Yeah. You don't walk into Walmart, get asked, how are you doing today? And go, well, I'm going to tell you that's wrong. Well, you don't do that.
Right.
You smile, wave, and walk on. You know?
Why are you asking me that?
Don't ask me that.
I hear you.
Anyways, we're getting off topic. Back to the real world. So, Grant.
Clint.
How are you doing today? You doing all right? Did you have a good day at work?
Great. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, good.
Sold a bunch of RVs.
Did we?
Yeah. Absolutely.
How many did we sell?
4.
Did we sold 4 today?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
We're killing it, guys. Come down to our dealership.
We'll talk about what it is and where it is later.
Yeah. Not really trying to put us on blast. So, my computer's about to die. That's never a good thing.
The only RV dealership in Columbia, Missouri.
The only RV let me exaggerate. Only RV dealership in Columbia, Missouri. If you want to look us up, we're on the web, Facebook, working on a Twitter. It's this guy. I don't know. So, what would you say one of the biggest helps or biggest like help ups or, you know, what is some just great advice you can give to a younger salesperson? That's our demographic, I hope you know, is a younger salesperson or somebody who is struggling in the sales field. We want them to be better. We want them to be hustlers like us. We want them to know how to do their job better. Obviously, if they're looking for a podcast, they're going to find this and go, man, that's what I needed to hear. What is that, you know, little motivation you can give us.
I'll give you 2 words for it is purpose and passion.
Mm-hmm.
They go hand in hand. So, what I try to tell the ladies and the gentlemen that I try to train and show them what passion is and build that passion for what they do, it's key to have purpose behind the passion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can have passion for something, but if I don't have a purpose on why I want to do something, then I'm lost, right?
Absolutely.
So you've got to find that purpose. For me, it's making sure that my family needs nothing. As I talked about, I don't want them to need for anything. I want to have that freedom. I want to have that financial freedom and to be able to do and enjoy and take my family on vacations and that kind of thing. And that's what my purpose is. So behind that's the passion I have to be that success, to make sure that I'm providing every day. So what I can tell any young or old, the demographic, you're right, it's going a lot younger than it used to be, but young or old, is find that passion. Make sure you're doing exactly what you love to do. Not for everybody, it's not just about the money. For everybody, it's not about, even the freedom. They just want to go to a 9 to 5, and that's fine. That's your happiness. But for me, it's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
For me, I want to be as big and as far out of this planet as you can get. And most people don't see my goals and my passion like I do, or they say it's impossible. Let me tell you, I've been told there's no way you're going to do this. There's no way you're going to do this. And guess what? Time and time again, you do it. But the only thing that drives you is the passion. So be passionate for what you do. Have the purpose for what you do. That's key. As young people, we have to get away from what, I don't want to get into the world thoughts, but what we got to get away from is, letting everybody else control us, letting everybody else control our minds and what we need to be and what we're supposed to believe in. Believe in what you want to believe in.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing. Everybody has different thoughts and beliefs and different things, but in all, we all have the same goal, and that's to be happy. That's to be, free and happy is the ultimate American goal. But to me, there's a lot more, and that's helping other people reach that. Mm-hmm. So be passionate about what you do, have the purpose in what you do. And I think that anybody can have success in what they're passionate about.
Yep. See, and I love that. And, this being a personal thing that I've heard Grant say so many times is, when he goes to work, he is passionate about what he's doing. He gets that excitement every time he takes a TO and has to go out and play the general manager card. But even in the meetings, with all of his employees underneath him, I think it's 46?
Somewhere right now, yeah.
Somewhere around 46.
We've got a couple.
He says this all the time. He says, I don't have 46 people that count on me every day. He says, add 4 to each 46, because you have a family. Not everybody has, exactly 4 people in it, but, they have kids, you've got wives and all of those. So it's 4 times that amount because of all of your families. They all reside on my shoulders. And I've heard him say that he loves that fact, not in a maniacal way, but as in that is my passion, my drive to get, everybody's momentum going, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You're trying to, take care of everybody.
Right.
And that's the reason you got into this business. And that's one of the reasons why I like it, because, you're trying to take care of people, not only from a customer standpoint, but from an employee standpoint.
As long as I take care of, I know, and the reason why I say that, Clint, is I know that if I'm taking care of those other, however many people that is per family, I know that I'm taken care of too. So as long as I'm taking care of them and they're taken care of, mine will come back to me somehow, some way. So if I have to work that much harder to do it, that's fine with me. It doesn't affect me at all. It's just do it. It's just that kind of thing. You want something, you just go out and do it.
Absolutely.
You need something, you just go out and do what it takes to get that. So that's, that you're right. That is a big drive too. Not just my own family, but making sure everybody else's families are taken care of too.
That's right. And that's one of the reasons why I love you. You're my bro.
Yes, sir.
But I think we're going to wrap this up. That's been our episode. Grant, thank you so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate you having me, Clint.
I hope you've enjoyed the beer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll finish this here in a minute.
Big shout out to Second Shift Brewing. I've had one too many. Oh, I'm slurring. Once again, we're drinking Technical Ecstasy. It's quite delicious. If you're in the Missouri area, it should be at your local liquor stores. Go check them out. It's a good brew. I think you'll enjoy it. If you don't mind, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, as well as Anchor and iTunes. Leave us a comment and let me know what you think of our first episode. Thank you and good night.